The solutions that we built at Nanoprecise, we are able to basically increase the reliability of the operations. Like we can predict, we can detect the faults in the machineries like pumps, compressors, turbines, fans, blowers. These are the machines that you see everywhere. Probably in the building that you're sitting in right now, the HVAC will have those machines, right? So if those machines go stop working, you will not have air conditioning in your home or in your building, right? So that's why that reliability of those machines is extremely important.
Immigrants across the globe, welcome to the Immigrant Nation podcast. Today's guest is a first generation immigrant and mechanical engineer who turned early career struggles into a multi million dollar AI tech company. He is the founder of Nanoprecise Sci Fi Core and on a mission to stop industrial breakdowns before they happen and make manufacturing more sustainable. But behind the success is a journey of grit, sacrifice, resilience, and much more. Let's get into it. A few in house notes. Many of you have reached out to us. Many of you immigrant listeners are missing out on new shows and a lot of what is happening in the back end. To that effect, we need your help and we need your help. Here's what you must do to help this show. We need your help today by sending a link of the show to one of your friends, one immigrant that you know somewhere. Remember, this show, today's episode, has been sponsored by Northwest EMS, our ambulance company out of Houston, Texas. For those of you who are wondering how you can get a hold of us, you can reach us on TikTok and Instagram at The Immigrant Nation, and Facebook at The Immigrant Nation Podcast, LinkedIn and YouTube, The Immigrant Nation Podcast. So, Neil, you are the founder of Continuum AI, and you also have had success at Nanoprecise. If we talked about success, I think that's a story that has been told over and over again. Now that we have established that you have been successful career wise, talk to us about your failures.
For sure, yeah. So I think some of my failures would be trying to do too many things by myself, too shy to ask for help, right? Um, and that leading to taking too much responsibility on myself at times, uh, just because, like, as an immigrant, what happens is that when you come here, to be very very honest, and I'm 100% sure that every one of us as immigrant has faced this, we don't have the same level of confidence that the locals will have, right? And what that does is that sometimes, uh, rather than bothering people, you end up doing things yourself that should have been done by them. And in that, what happens is that you basically overstrain yourself, or basically like try to do multiple things at the same time. And sometimes what that does is that can upset people. And at other times you can basically do some error, because when you're trying to do too many things, like, uh, you know I say this thing like, only those who make only those people make mistakes who actually do something, right? So if you don't do anything, you don't never do any mistake. So in that, when you try to do too many things, basically you tend to do some mistakes, right? So in a nutshell, if I have to put my failure, would have been that, not being so upfront and being very shy, especially in the initial years in my entrepreneurship journey, just because, and I think the locals must understand this, many times it's purely because of immigrants not feeling confident enough whether I can even ask for help in this case, right? and and that's why them doing certain things the way they're doing, you know, uh, honestly, if I'm back in India, um, I would probably not do myself those things myself, and I'll simply, tell my subordinates, okay, I need this done, this done, this done, and this is the reason for doing this, and these are the impacts of doing this, so that they also understand the motivation behind why we are doing something, not just a direct order from my boss, right? So, but I'm much more confident in delegating things in that side of the world because I come from that culture. Now I'm confident here too. Of course, that's a different thing, but it took me a while. So one of my failure, I would say, has been not being upfront enough, or being a little shy in the beginning years, and I see that is a common failure among a lot of immigrants, of not feeling confident enough to speak up, or ask for help in the workplace early enough. And my suggestion to the local people, is that, like, if I'm in India, and if someone from US comes to India, I would it's my job to make sure that I make them feel welcome, that be feel confident, and if you need any help, don't hesitate to ask for it, and put it in the way you want, and be accommodative, and like, uh, open up yourself, um, rather than try to be shy and keep it to yourself, right? So it goes both ways, both from the immigrants, that I know it's a new land, and you lack confidence of this, how to act in this work culture, but also, but you have to grow over it. But also, there's a on the locals, there's a need for making them feel more accommodative and welcome, and understand that that person is coming from a different work culture. Technically, commercially, he might be good, but it's just the other aspects that can actually hold them back. And it's the job of the locals to make them more feel more accommodative. And so that, what that does is that journey, you can travel the journey as an immigrant, and locals can take advantage of that immigrant's knowledge way more quickly, rather than going through lots of trial and error methods, which can be avoided. Yeah.
So now, two really important things that I'm getting here. The first one is cultural conflict, right? The ability of immigrants to be able to translate their cultural values to the new communities that they have migrated in, and the confidence that follows thereof,
Yeah.
right? Um, for those of you who are joining our conversation, we are speaking with Sunil Vedula, and really quickly, culture is a big deal, right? If I come from Japan, I have Japanese values that may not necessarily translate accordingly in the US environment or in the US market. But because I am an immigrant in America, I really, to be able to be successful in America, I really need to understand the American culture and how the American culture buys and sells. And the same principle applies across the globe, I want to believe. And so, getting into a marketplace, when you go into any marketplace, you're going into that particular marketplace as a technician, because you understand the technicality of doing a certain, of deploying a certain idea, right? And so, For you to be successful as an immigrant in a market that you do not understand the culture, but you are capable of deploying your technical prowess, understanding the culture would be necessary, and the ability to deploy your product into the market is necessary. To combine those two factors, we need confidence in our ability to do mastery of your idea, right?
Hmm.
And so for your initial failure, it was the lack, and I hope my assessment is correct, is lack of your confidence in deploying what you knew how to do exactly really well, and as you put in your words, being shy of asking for help.
Yes.
Tell us how you eventually were able to do that.
Yeah, I think it took time, um, definitely, and I would say that with the technology advancements and lot of remote calls and basically because a lot of times you are more comfortable to deal with people over a conference call, right? But basically like not so much in person. But of course, like now I'm basically head of revenue operations at another company called McAdemy. I'm actually transitioning from Nanoprecise. So basically, yeah, I'm in that role, in the sales role, where I have to meet people. So I'm right now, I'm all that is subsided completely. I'm more a North American. I might feel have a problem adjusting in India now. So but I think what I the way I would put is uh, through the advancements in technology, and then over time facing more and more people, and difficult how to handle difficult discussions or conversations at the workplace, and reading more books about it, about how to have difficult conversations in a easiest of the manner, right? So those are the things, and how not to retaliate everywhere, right? Like because you have to go in every conversation with a central premise that every human being wants to be good, right? It's just the circumstances or their own mental issues can actually make them behave in a certain way. So you don't need to retaliate, but rather grasp, and then basically like see how you can make things better. So those are the things I would say: reading books, advancement technology, and interacting with more and more people. uh, because there is no clear you talk about the culture, but there is no clear. If I ask, okay, what is the code of conduct for this culture, is there a guide? There is no guide like that, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, that's the problem with the culture. People talk about, oh, culture, it's strategy for breakfast. Where is the culture? Have you defined, like, there is a Bible or there's Gita? Do you have a book like that on the culture? No. Right? So it only comes with time and lots of reading, lots of books, and it's a very simple word, culture, but honestly, it's deep inside. Is so much. It's such a complicated thing. Culture comes from how, you know like, it intertwines with the religion, with
Mhm.
Christianity, with basically Hinduism, with Sikhism, with Islam, with different parts of the world, how they eat food, how they greet, how is their approach to work ethics, like how much they differentiate between work life balance. So because in some places work is everything, because, like, I come from India, where there's more than a billion population. To survive there, you have to work hard, right? So there is there is very less thing called work life balance, because you are coming from that environment where, to even to survive and to thrive, it takes a lot, because there's so much people competing there, right? Similarly in China too, similarly in Japan too. But when it comes to North America, the population density is so less, right? So look, so it's totally, so culture is one word, but behind that there is religion, there is population density, there is regional aspects, there's food, everything. It's not one single thing. It's actually way more complicated than even a religion, because at least you have a guide for a religion. At least you have a guide for a certain certain food types in a certain region, but you don't have any guide for culture. So it took me a while, the books, the technology, and be dealing with lots of people eventually helped me to get past that. Yeah.
Specificity is really important when we're speaking to our listeners. So, as a shy guy, and this is where your majority of the failure really started, but it's in failure that we start to understand ourselves and to become great at what we do. What did you change within yourself that you eventually started building the courage to overcome your shyness?
Yeah, I think one of the things that really I changed in myself um, is stop worrying about results and focus on doing the job, right? And what I mean by that is, it's very easy to keep thinking about what others would feel, or what uh, you know but it's very important to understand how you feel, and how you should express. But again, always be mindful of the fact that when you express something, always be positive about the situation, because negativity is not going to help anybody. It is not solving problems. And in this world, we are looking for problem solvers, not problem creators. So that's why I would say that what I changed in myself is focus on the solutions, and focus on doing your job, not worrying about results, because results are not in my hand. And that's what and be positive. And when I say focus on solutions, is itself means focus on solving the problem, not on the people. In the same way, focus on uh, the process that you need to follow, not the results. Because people, like, you can try to impress, out of 100,000 people, you can try to impress, you may be able to impress 90,000 people, but 10,000 will still not be impressed, right?
Mhm.
Everybody, and that's not in your hand. What is in your hand is be positive, focus on solutions, and focus on the process, not focus on the results, because the results are not in your hands. Yeah.
So, immigrants feel like they do not belong. They do not belong in a boardroom. They do not belong in a community association. They feel like they do not belong, and sometimes we segregate ourselves into these little colonies within communities that we live just to feel comfortable among ourselves, among a culture that we understand, among a people that we understand. I'm looking for a way to bounce back, to know that I have a solution to a certain problem in society, and I know the solution will add value to those who embrace the solution, and I know the solution is needed in the marketplace. What did failure teach you that you're able to transition in identifying your problem and how you quickly would bring a solution for that problem into the marketplace?
Yeah. Could you repeat that question once again? I could not understand the last part of it. Sorry. Yeah.
Let's rephrase it.
Okay.
You've obviously sat in a few boardrooms.
Sure.
Did you feel like not belonging in one of those boardrooms was hindering you, was holding you back, or was that a time when you felt you really needed to step up and besides your inabilities, be able to project what you wanted to project?
Um, I would say that the boards that I have been, part of have basically have appreciated me, in the past, and basically they uh, of course, I have my own disappointments with my board, but I would rather keep that off this topic. But the main thing is that I, like, at least in Canada, I don't see that big of a issue in terms of, you know feeling aloof. But yes, I do see some things like, uh, you know uh, any conversation, right? So any conversation, there is a inherent feeling to, talk in a, like a specific way. And I would say, they to put it simply, uh, much more needs to be done by the boards in terms of the diversity, and to make immigrant feel welcome, and try to understand their accent can be different, but uh, focus on what he or she is trying to say, and focus on the I mean, it has to be, I said, right, focus on the solutions, focus on, be positive. I think it goes both ways, rather than, because the locals also may feel like, oh, what is this person trying to say, and all that. Focus on the issue at hand, not on the person, because when you're trying to talk to a immigrant, what happens is the accent can be different, the way it is delivered, the language problem can be there, all that. Leave all of that, focus on, because when someone is actually BSing, or talking something really negative, it's very clear, you can make it out, anybody can make it out, right? But when you know that he's not BSing, or he's not talking something really negative, but actually is more of an accent problem, instead of trying to correct his accent, or trying to focus on him, focus on the problem, and focus on what is the takeaway from that, and make him or her feel comfortable. That is when you mentioned that point, we are all in our own small little pockets. One of the reason for that is that we are not made that much welcome or comfortable by the locals, and onus is also on us. Nobody will roll a red carpet for us. Oh, you are welcome. I mean, we also have to make our own attempt, right? So I would say it's a, like a gap on both sides, both on the immigrant side and the local side too, for sure, right? So both have to go extra mile to bridge that gap. Otherwise, this gap will keep remaining for a long time, and it'll just cost more in terms of production losses, or the productivity losses, right? So yeah, does that answer your question, what I'm saying?
Yes, it does. Sunil, you 16 years ago,
Yeah.
you found yourself in a flight and you landed somewhere in Canada. Looking back, did you think you'd be able to get to the place that you are today? um, and what really changed? How did you get yourself here? Walk us through the details.
Absolutely. Definitely, I never anticipated that I would reach to this stage, right? Like I would reach to this point where I would have my own company, start my own company, have raised $35 million with some of the best investment agencies, right? So I never thought it will be possible, but it was possible because I you know I was persistent. Like in fact, one of my earlier mentor, who basically told me that, like, told while doing one of the reference checks, as part of investment due diligence, you have to do the customer reference check, or so when he talked to one of my customer or one of my acquaintances, so that person told that, like, what do you say about Sunil, and like, is he persistent enough and all that. So that guy said, Sunil is like a pit bull. He will come at you without worrying about what are the circumstances. He will basically keep trying, keep trying. He's very persistent. So that's what really helped me to reach where I am, um, while still making sure that we are not being foolishly persistent, learning from every failure, and making sure that I don't commit the same mistake again. Right. So
Define
yeah.
foolishly persistent.
Yeah, uh, foolishly persistent means, basically, uh, to give an example, is uh, when you know that something is, something is not going to work, right? Rather than basically trying to find out what is, like, under what regulations it will not work. You basically try to find um, you know some kind of shortcut to make it work, or maybe just trying the same things again and again, and expecting different results, right? So that, I would say, is foolishly persistent. But uh, when something is not working, what is needed is a very in-depth analysis of where did things go wrong, what is that point, like, go through the root cause analysis, and figure out where is the actual problem, right? So
So now we're still on failure, right? We're
yes.
still on your very first failure, right?
Yeah.
And I compelled to do a deep dive, right? You don't become as successful as you have without having done certain things right,
Yes.
right? If I look at my journey, I can see where the changes started. I can see the things that I started to do that really moved the needle in my life. For and to me, that is true of every entrepreneur out there that is persistent about getting to their end goal. You said when you landed in Canada, you did not realize you'd get yourself where you are today. Having raised over $38 million in uh, your investment, and on and on and on.
Mhm.
When we talk about persistence, what are some of the things you changed and did so aggressively and so persistently to be able to get here?
Yeah, one of the thing that I always uh, you know uh, focused on, and actually because of which I in that process, I always like upset some people, but rightfully so, and I'm never shy of doing that again and again. Is I always gave importance to a sense of urgency, right, towards
Hmm.
everything. You need, if you want to achieve something, you need to have a sense of urgency. Okay, I'll tell you how I get the sense of urgency. The sense of urgency, for someone, the sense of urgency can be oh, I want to become rich fast, right? That is the sense. That doesn't give me sense of urgency. You know why? Because I don't cherish to be a rich person just for the heck of it, because I see it like this, that what will I get by having too much money? Will eat too much of fast food, or have a big house that I can't even take care of, or have to pay a lot of utilities, and keep traveling everywhere without calling even a single thing as home, right? So money is not the driver for me. What creates sense of urgency for me is things like this, that climate change is a massive problem. We must realize, I mean, everybody realizes by now, but it's just that we are so used to in our own life that we don't know anything beyond what will happen to our life. We don't think beyond that. That's the problem with us, right? For me, I see that what is the kind of future that we will give to our offsprings, and they will give to their offsprings. Because if I have l- lived a certain kind of life, if I'm not able to give that kind of life to my offsprings, I have not done something. I have done something wrong. Even you see Economist article now. You know what is the most miserable generation now? It is not middle-aged. It is the younger generation, and it is coming below and below, right? And climate change has a big role to play. And I see that the when I started Nanoprecise, I focused on the machineries, because the machineries are responsible. The motor driven machinery is responsible for more than 65% of the global electricity consumption, right? Making that efficient is important to basically that's why you are having more and more electric vehicles and all that now. So we're going in the right direction, but we need to go fast, right? We need to go even faster, because that sense of urgency is not coming from making Elon Musk rich or someone else rich. It's people a negative people might look at like that, but if you look at positively, that sense of urgency comes from the fact that if we don't do fast enough right now, this planet has very limited amount of time, because climate change is irreversible. You cannot reverse it back unless there is an ice age or something like that. So that's the problem. That's my sense of urgency, and I have kept that, and that's what led me to success. It's not uh, you know uh, great technology, great mind. By working hard, anybody can get all of that. But what's important is, while working hard, making sure that you're working hard on a consistent basis with that sense of urgency, that every single day, sometimes people might actually call those people as, oh, these guys, he's mad, he's crazy, every time he's thinking about that. You should separate your mind. No, you can't. Like, when you are meditating with that sense of urgency, right, you need to be on it 24 by 7. And other people may call you crazy, but that's because those people are not capable of that, or they basically don't want to do that. But there is a sense of urgency for me, for to be like crazy, and I may be crazy to the rest of the world, but I know what I'm working towards. That's what led me to that success.
You said the mission is what drove you.
Yes.
And for your mission to become successful, you felt you needed to have a sense of urgency to get to your goal because time, resources, and the world do not have time to wait. That's what changed for you is identifying your mission
Yes.
and deploying your mission to the marketplace. How did you choose your niche mission? Why did you choose that mission?
Yeah, that's a great question, Martin. And the way you choose your mission is, for me, I looked at what am I good at, okay? So I had to introspect my life, And what I noticed is that from the childhood, I have been pushed more into academics, but my interest was more in maths and physics, because I wanted to understand how the things work in the nature, how what's the patterns like. So even during my childhood, when I was in the ninth grade, I was doing 10th grade maths, right? Because I was just interested. I finished the ninth grade maths. I was doing the 10th grade maths, and because I was just interested into it. What next? What next? So that basically, that's one part of what led me to my mission. Is I wanted to do something, um, which I'm good at, from my, or I will be interested in, I'll be passionate about. But what you're passionate about is not enough. What is needed is, ultimately at the end, see, when I leave this place, when I leave planet Earth, right, I want to at least make sure that, at least that's how I think, maybe not others, but I want to leave this world a better place. Because, if you look at all these videos of what were the Steve Jobs last words and all that, like many other things, you notice that everyone at the end of the life, money is just one small part. That is actually the least important part. It's the other things that will make you satisfied while you're going away from this place, right? So for me, it was more about, by using all of this that I know or I'm passionate about, what am I giving to this planet or the mankind? And that's where this mission came, that with my experience in mechanical engineering, with my passion for maths and physics, how do I make this world a better place? With my corporate experience, I worked as a mechanical engineer in oil and gas industries and all that. So that's where I started Nanoprecise, right? So that basically, I how to make the machines more smarter, intelligent, so that we can produce more with the same amount of energy consumption, or reduce the energy consumption for the same amount of uh, you know uh, output. Because see, the world right now is at a crossroads where we need to produce enough to make the existing population of the world sustainable, producing at a rate so that the inflation is not out of the sky. It is good enough, so that the common population can afford the basic things like toothpaste, food, milk, meat, etc. While you also want to make sure that you are, while doing that manufacturing of these all these products, you're doing that sustainably, environmentally friendly, that this production for the current, to sustain the current generation, current population, does not come at the cost of the future population, right? And that's where smart machines, doing it efficiently, or keep your production per cost per energy consumption rate increasing over time, is extremely important. So I saw that mission as very, very noble, to help the future while sustaining the current, using my existing knowledge and passion. As that is where I found my mission of my life. Yeah.
Let's deliver that point home, right? Your mission is delivering a huge value add into society. So tell us how your mission is contributing to a huge value add to industry, factory owners, or businesses that use your technology, to the environment, and to every Joe's like myself.
Sure. So I will put it in three objectives: reliability, efficiency, energy efficiency, and quality. Or you can call it, quality can be called as throughput or yield. Okay. So with the solutions that we built at Nanoprecise, we are able to basically increase the reliability of the operations. Like we can detect the faults in the machineries like pumps, compressors, turbines, fans, blowers. These are the machines that you see everywhere. Probably in the building that you're sitting in right now, the HVAC will have those buildings, right? With machines, right? So if those machines go stop working, you will not have air conditioning in your home or in your building, right? So that's why that reliability of those machines is extremely important, to keep the plant owners running. Secondly, making sure that those, like, because if there is any fault in those machineries, you would not even notice, but the energy consumption, your energy consumption is going high, and it is costing you every second, not even every minute, every second. For example, I'll tell you this: 60% of American households don't change air filter on time. Air filter in your furnace, okay? Costing, that is responsible, because HVAC is responsible for 25% of the global carbon emissions, okay? And this not changing the filter on time is responsible for 1 to 2%, if not more, okay? Massive. Simple habits can, but you cannot ask everyone to remember, oh, after 3 months you change it. It doesn't happen, right? So how many of, I mean, I have forgotten it myself so many times, right? Either you put some kind of a alarm, even if you put an alarm, you snooze the alarm and go away. Right? So things like this, the solutions like ours will enable the customer to tell them, oh, like for example, our solution can actually show in a car dashboard. I'm just giving a hypothetical example, but this is more applicable for plant, but I'm taking car as an example to make it easier for our viewers. So our solution can actually give on a car dashboard what's the, basically, it's not just that you need to do an oil change yesterday, but it also shows, because of that oil change being delayed by last 1 week, how much decrease in mileage it is costing you in terms of the dollars per week. So tomorrow when you go to uh, like a coffee shop, you will definitely look at your car dashboard and see, oh, I know I have a oil service due, but how powerful is that to show, because of this oil change it has already decreased my mileage to cost me $20 per week extra. You are going for a coffee, just besides that there's a car oil change shop, you will get the oil change done, right? So changing the behavior of the people by showing them their little actions, how it is costing them the most important that they cherish about, which is money, on a daily basis, right? So that's how we basically change the behavior, in terms of with energy efficiency, and impact the overall world. And the third, you asked for people like us. So for people like us, we are worried about inflation. Let's accept it. All of us are worried, especially the middle class of the world, are worried about the inflation, rightfully so, or in all parts of the world, right? Whether it is India, US, Canada, everywhere. One of the big factor for inflation is supply chain disruptions, right? I mean, uh, big corporations can increase the price and recoup their profits, even though their revenue is slower. They will make their profits and go away, even on a lower, lesser revenue. So all they care about is profits. But it's the middle class people who are paying it out of their, by and by avoiding those supply chain disruptions, we can actually keep the production going on and um, keep the what do you say, the enough goods in the market, that the inflation is not affecting common people. At the same time, it also, the profits for the big corporations are intact, but to do this at an environmentally sustainable way, thinking about the future also. It's trying to make everybody happy. You know, it's a very difficult job. That's why any solution that can achieve all these three will be critical, as you said, mission critical. It will be critical for the industries. So I hope I answered that question now. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining our conversation, we are speaking with Snell. Snell is the founder of Nanoprecise and is on a mission to stop industrial breakdowns before they happen and make manufacturing more sustainable. But behind his success is a journey of great sacrifice and resilience. And obviously, we are here to hear your story. If you're following us on Instagram at the Immigrant Nation, on Facebook at the Immigrant Nation Podcast, and on LinkedIn and YouTube, the Immigrant Nation Podcast. So now, where can our listeners find you?
You can Google me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So just type Sunil Vedula, my name, right on the screen on LinkedIn. I'm sure you will find me as a first Sunil Vedula on LinkedIn. So please connect with me. More than happy to see how we can mutually add value to each other and go from there. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's go back to you migrating to Canada. Let's have that conversation. The first few months as an immigrant, what surprised you the most?
Um, I would say the cold. Yeah, so it's damn hot, damn cold here. But yeah, I mean, I think apart from that, uh, I would say, you know, the formality of in the conversations. So what I realized is that the conversations were more, you know, every conversation was more official and formal. I realized very there are very few even the informal conversations felt like very formal, where people were had to say like excuse me, sorry, thank you for even smallest of things, right? Which is good. I really appreciate that, honestly. I That's one good thing I take away from this culture,
Hmm.
because it's putting respecting the other soul, right? It's very important to do that. But that was one thing that was very different, because in India, even if there's so many people that by chance if somebody touches you, he doesn't even care to look back and say like, come on, we are 1 billion of them. Like, I don't have time for all this. Right? Right? so
Do you,
in fact,
Sunil?
if
Do
you say,
you?
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, in fact, if you say sorry to someone, if you by chance missed hit him, he'll be like, what, why did you say sorry? so so yeah, that was very different, but I like that in that culture, because essentially, uh, if if a certain region is not overpopulated, um, or over or whatever it is, but you have to give respect to the other soul, and as part of that, that sorry, thank you, and excuse me are very important. So I really like that in this culture. Yeah.
Very interesting, right? The things we think that are not important, they became really important to you, right? Just
Yes.
a mere stopping to recognize somebody and say I'm sorry or hello, right?
Right.
Do you ever feel like you're living between two worlds, your home culture and the adopted, obviously the adopted culture of living in Canada?
I think slowly I'm realizing that even in India, it's basically Americanized, right? So
Hmm.
everybody has that ethics and that ethos. People say, like, I just came back from India 2 weeks back, actually, and I see that very much the same kind of culture as you see in America. Of course, India is huge, right? Like, I'm talking about in the official circles in big cities. not in smaller cities. But so I would say slowly, it's a, I would call it's a globalized culture. It's so that gap is slowly reducing, which I think is good, because I would say there should be one culture, that is humanity, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
you know, everything else is can go for a toss, because ultimately we all need to respect each other as humans. You can call whatever culture it is. English can call English culture, Indian can call Indian culture, but I call it as a culture that respects humanity, right?
Yeah.
And I see that gap is bridging. So that's why I would say I was living in two worlds, but I think that worlds are collapsing into one world slowly. Yeah.
Fantastic that the world is collapsing into one world, because that leads me to the next segment of our show. And let's talk about AI and nanotechnology.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
The world is rapidly changing because of AI. From your perspective, what should we be wary of?
Yes. I think it's a very interesting question, Martin, and there's no simple answer to that. The only simple answer that I can provide is, there's a great mathematician, right, which I
Mm,
follow very closely, called Srinivas Ramanujan, one of the top 10 mathematicians that ever walked this planet, right? So there's a movie on him called The Man Who Knew Infinity. So he said one sentence which became the basis of my life, actually, and that describes how we should take the advancements in AI. He said, despite, I mean, he's a walking, like, there's no other person who is so good in patterns and combinatorics and as him. He's considered as another Newton, Isaac Newton, right, in maths. What
mhm.
he said is, an equation for me has no value unless it expresses a thought of God. Okay. And by God, it can be any God, right? Whichever God you prayed or you believe. The point here is, the God is basically any, what he's basically saying, the way I interpret it is, an AI for me has no value unless it is for the common good, right? Adds net value to everyone rather than transferring value from one person to the other person, right? So that's what I would describe. Any AI that we do, if we are doing that just simply to transfer value from one person to the other rather than creating net value, and people will be like, oh, it is a very complicated ask, you have to calculate how much net value is this net. Boss, value is very simple. How much how much it is making your life easier, how much money it is getting in your bank, and how much uh, your safety risk it is reducing. Simple. So if we can easily quantify anything, any AI tool with that. If any AI tool is enabling that, right, for every person, it is good. But if it is not, then I see it as basically, it's just another gimmick in a capitalist world to make money. But I don't see that as very long term, because it's like an arbitrage. In a financial market, you have an arbitrage opportunity, right? And
Mm.
arbitrage opportunity closes very well. And like, if there is a somewhere to make money, people will hop onto it within seconds. It will go away, right? If you have to,
Yeah.
so that's how the
It's
trades
always a
happen.
short window.
Exactly. So in the same way, if you built a AI based business by spotting an arbitrage opportunity rather than thinking what common good it is going to do, then that arbitrage opportunity will only be for certain time. You will grow very well in that certain time, but after that it will close. So if I'm an investor, I will invest with that mathematician statement in mind, that how it basically uh, you know reduces the time, gives more time to the common person, puts more money in his bank account, and basically reduces his safety risk. These three basic things, right? So otherwise it's just another gimmick for me. Yeah.
Okay, so AI is not going away. It's
Yeah.
here and it's
Yes.
deploying rapidly.
Yes.
And obviously there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are working to combine AI and uh, metal to create robots, right? And so from what those who are in the forefront in the industry are saying, it seems like AI, when deployed with robots, is probably going to take away the majority of jobs out there. I tend to disagree with that analogy because during every technological evolution era, we may have taken away some jobs, but really we multiplied productivity and also multiplied jobs. For example, it used to be a horse and buggy, and then we brought the car, and when the car came into the marketplace, it grew rapidly. Industry provided more jobs, on and on and on. And then we went to the next evolution, and that was electricity. Same thing, it took away some jobs, but it really grew the capacity at industry and manufacturing, and on and on and on. And then there was the next evolution, which was the internet, right? And I remember when I was little, when internet was starting, and people would worry that it was going to take jobs, and I would hear my mother and her friends talking about all the secretarial jobs would go away, and that's really not what happened. Again, it compounded itself. So in my capacity, I'm assuming with this new evolution, we're just going to see a multiplication of what is already in existence. Probably it may bring itself into different shapes. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Okay. And, in fact, one thing I would, where I would really embrace AI, why I really embrace AI. See, we as a human race, we got to become smarter, right? If like we keep talking about some alien will come and invade us, right? That's what the movies that we make. Like
Yeah.
we, if we want to become a super human race or a super alien race, what do we need? We need to enhance ourselves with knowledge, and we need to stop doing the same job again and again. If something needs to be automated, we have to automate it so that we can push ourselves for even better things, right? This is the only way human race will become that super alien superhuman race, right? Which we try to show in the movies. And this is where I really agree with what Elon Musk, the way he visions, the way he sees things. At least what he's doing is he's telling the human race to be smarter, think smarter, right? And get smarter. And one big part of that is AI will enable us to automate all those jobs where we were doing the same thing. Does any one of us, like, if given a chance, if our health was good, if our brain was good, we were eating good food, chemically everything was good in our body, does any one of us want to do the same thing again and again for the next 1 year in our life? No. We want a change, we want to progress. And AI is a good excuse. It will, if we don't accept it, it will force us to change, right? So it's a great thing that we have some force pushing us to be our better selves on a daily basis. And that way I see AI is a big enabler and pusher at the same time for us to be better and better. And that's why I keep saying it is actually, it is going to lead to a better future, a smarter future, a superhuman future, right? So I'm all up, all towards adopting of AI, but making sure that we are, again, with any technology comes good and bad, right? So how this is where our leaders need to be understanding that they need to come very quickly on differentiating where to put regulations to make sure this is not misused by anybody, including the governments, at the same time where it needs to be not curtailed, so as to that it is not even you're not even letting AI push normal human beings to be better version of themselves, right? It's a very delicate balance that has to be ensured, and the government has a big role to play, private sector has a big role to play, our own ethos and ethics have a big role to play, right? Because we cannot just simply say that, oh, I will try to meet the law. I mean, the law doesn't exist on many things actually, right? But what happens is if you break the ethics on that, what that does is it will break the trust, and everybody will look at AI as some other villain, which it is not, right? It is just an algorithm which is trying to make our life easier. It's us who have tried to make, you know use it in a certain way to make it a villain, look like a villain, right? So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Constant, never ending improvement is necessary for our growth. AI is probably going to play a radical role in helping us be able to do that. For those of us who are on the brink, we're still struggling on what will my role be in a world where AI is dominating most of what we do. How do we prepare ourselves to be able to adopt the constant changing technology and actually use it to the advantage of us for our own betterment?
Yeah, I would simply say that question everything that you're doing 5 years back, what you were doing 5 years back, anything that you're doing on the Google, right? Like, you know now you can do the same thing on Chat GPT or Gemini, get some two different three different views. So simple things like, instead of googling everything, now you put it on the Gen AI models. So do that rather than keep doing the same old googling, because googling wastes your time now. I mean, of course, Google also gives you the AI mode and all that, but you get much better in Chat GPT or Gemini deep research, or so use those tools rather than googling. Simple things like that, simple changes like that, or even think of, even before you try to do something, just see, is there a way to automate that? Is there, like, if you are doing something for 3 consecutive days or 5 consecutive days, right? And you know that this will be required for you for the next 1 year or 2 years at least, find out, is there a way I can automate this? Can I create an agent for this? Can I do something? Because it's worth the time and the investment to automate that, because you know that you want to do the same thing again and again for the next 1 year. Okay. So what can you do to automate that, right? So things, in every small things, of course. Some things you can't automate, of course, that and like, you need to eat food, you need to go to washroom, you need to sleep, you can't automate these things, right? So understanding that balance, what can be automated, what cannot be automated, even if it is required for the foreseeable amount of time, and for how much time. Some things, even though you can automate, you should not automate, because it's once in a lifetime thing. Okay. Or once in 2 years thing. So you have to calculate in the terms of the probability. What's the probability I need to do this job tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and how many times? So based on that, you decide what to do to automate it, right? In the same way, what are the tools? W- are the tools that I'm using uh, now are the same as the tools in the past? Then can there be better tools? Because now the Gen AI is a new revolution. So find out new tools to do that. evaluate every step of your daily if your daily job is described, find out what are the two in the past you were doing like this, find out are there tools to automate every part this part of my daily job, right? So these are normal things that we can all do to embrace AI and be a better version of ourselves. Yeah.
We started with a question regarding your failures. Let's pivot to what are you proud of that you have accomplished thus far? If you were looking at your life and the 20-year-old you was looking at you today, what would they be so proud of?
Yes. One of the things that I'm extremely proud of is, I started a company in a small, lesser known city in North America or even in the world called Edmonton. Okay. It's
Mhm.
not so well known. You would not see so many companies, probably not even 10 companies coming out of Edmonton, which has raised more than $35 million, right? So I mean, yeah, in the last 10 years also, right? So I'm very proud of starting a company for even from a small place. uh, it took me a lot of hard work to do that. I mean, easy option is to move to Houston. I'm just coming from Houston, actually. I just was in Houston yesterday.
Oh my goodness, I was here. I am in Houston.
Okay, okay, maybe next time when I come there, I'll definitely meet you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I so basically, how to like I could that could have been would have been an easy choice. Go to San Francisco, Bangalore, even Toronto, Calgary, and start something. But I chose to still stay here and start it, um, um, because there was a certain vision why it can still be possible. It was a hard work, but it became possible. But because of that, what happened is that because of Nanoprecise, Edmonton came on the global, Canada map for startups. A lot of startups came after us, right? And Edmonton is not unknown to startup world as a city where you can start a business. And other thing that I'm really proud of is while being in Edmonton, Canada, where people are very very careful about not going global too fast, right?
Mhm.
While I was bold enough to be global from the first day. Okay. So like I mean, recently before I left Nanoprecise, the company size was around 130, and basically, like almost 70 people are in India. 12 to 13 people are in US. Around 16 people are in Canada. 7 people are in Europe. 2 people were in Middle East. One person was in Asia Pacific. Like a 130 people company, so diverse at such an early stage, at a stage of around 10 million ARR, is not a joke, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a global business, right? So um, some people might say, did we stretch ourselves too thin? uh, Maybe, but uh, that doesn't mean that we are not growing, right? And in fact, we were growing 100% per annum. But it was important to like, at least we were one of the lesser companies to get impact in Canada, to get impacted by the tariffs, the US tariffs on Canada and all that, right? Because we were so diverse. Because I'm a big believer of diversity in everything, whether it is diversification in your boardroom, in your revenue, the sales channels, okay, channels to market, in your sectors you cater to, in your markets you cater to, right? Of course, I will not cater to some markets which are where the corruption is very high and all of that, right? So you have to look at all of that. But the markets which, as long as you define your ideal customer profile, and that customer falls into that ideal. It doesn't matter whichever sector he is, it doesn't matter whichever region he is. You should be able to cater to them, and that's why you should have a global mindset. And that's what I'm really proud, building such a global team so early on in Nanoprecise. And one of the things that I followed always is, sometimes it hurts you, because some people can take advantage of that. But I basically always trusted people, right? I believe that like when you are in a startup, you got to move fast, you got to trust people, you do basic interviews and all of that. You trust people, you take decisions, you move fast, you break things, you learn fast, and then make sure you don't commit the same mistake again, and move on, right? So that's what I'm really proud of, these things. Yeah.
Mr. Vidula, let me put two things that you've said that are really, really important. One of what you just said now was defining your ideal customer profile.
Yes.
And earlier you talked about being mission driven. Marry those together for us.
Yeah, great point, Martin. And uh, you know like, see, when you think of a mission, think of a mission big enough that um that you are impacting the mankind all over, right?
Mhm.
Because if your mission is very small, then basically even selecting your ideal customer profile, like if your mission is not at least $1 trillion or more, right? If your mission is small, that it is only, the total market size is only $100 million, your ideal customer profile would be so limited that you will be only limited to probably America, right? Or maybe US, or sorry, maybe Canada, or maybe India, something like that. You need to make sure your total addressable market size is so big. And that means, like, first start with a mission which is impacting overall mankind. That automatically it will mean your market size is really big, total addressable market size is really big. And then you define your ideal customer profile, because when it is so big, even a small portion of that, when you define your ideal customer profile to be very specific, to be very targeted, that even that will be a couple of billions of dollars, right? So you will not have a problem going after your ideal customer profile. So that's how ideal customer profile and your mission are totally interlinked. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Tell us more.
I think, I mean, I would say that I'm very positive about the future, and because I'm entering into another role where I am head of revenue operations, sales and marketing, and working with customers like Berkshire Hathaway, Chevron, Exxon, all of that. So I'm actually in an even better role now, because CEO was a good title, right?
Mhm.
But CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, I would say even sometimes even more important than a CEO, because as a CRO, you are actually making things. You are not just talking vision, mission, and all of that. You need to bring orders to convert those mission and vision in actual executable orders, right? As you can see, I'm a born salesman already.
I was just looking at how much your demeanor changed when you started talking about your current role.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, actually, I want it to be like this. In fact, even in my existing company, I would have asked them to step down from a CEO to be a CRO, right? So uh, but anyways, I mean, the main thing is that I basically am entering into a role which I'm really excited about. Already the first week has happened, and I'm very excited about this role in this company. And it's in the same sector where we are increasing the reliability of the operations for the heavy industries, increasing the throughput, and in that quest increasing the efficiency. So I'm very much on that job, right? And in even more hardcore manner, that now I'm actually taking that vision and driving it to a goal. Now I'm responsible for driving as many goals as possible, right? My bonus is attached to that. So what can be better than that, right? Do- it's like don't say, just do it. And you'll be gifted for doing that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very excited. And so that's what I would say, the future is very positive. And and basically a lot of learnings in the last 10 years, especially with Nanoprecise. It has been one of the beautiful chapters of my life. And I'm sure it will keep on, going new heights under the new management. And basically, I would say, this I have chosen a mission, and based on what my passion, my skill set says, I am pretty clear that for the rest of my life I will be only in this. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Your mission is so big, and you've appealed to our listeners to have big missions to be able to impact the world in a more positive way.
Yes.
Obviously, your passion is selling. When did you realize that selling is incredibly important in living your mission?